Hello everyone. Now I am with the next video of HACCP Part 2, in which I explain prerequisite programs as good manufacturing practices, good hygienic practices, and hazard analysis and critical control point.
Primary production should be managed in that way which makes sure that food is safe and suitable for its intended use. It can be done by avoiding the use of areas where the environment creates a risk to the safety of food, by controlling contaminants, pests, and diseases of animals and plants in such a way as not to be a cause of risk to food safety, and by implementing practices and measures to make sure that food is produced under properly clean and hygienic conditions. For the hygienic production of food, FBOs should have feasible execution of measures to control contamination from air, soil, water, feedstuffs, fertilizers, pesticides, veterinary drugs, or any other agents which is used in primary production. They should have measures to control plant and animal health so that it does not create a risk to human health through food consumption or adversely distress the suitability of the product, and measures to protect food sources from fecal and other contamination. In particular, establishments should usually be located away from environmentally polluted areas and industrial activities which create a serious risk of contamination of food. The areas which are susceptible to outbreaks of pests, and the areas where waste, either solid or liquid, cannot be eliminated efficiently. Equipments in the establishment should be positioned in that way as it allows sufficient maintenance and cleaning, functions in conformance with its intended use, and make possible good hygiene practices including monitoring. The internal design and layout of food establishments should permit good food hygiene practices, including protection against cross-contamination between and during operations by foodstuffs. The floors, ceilings, and walls of the establishment should be cleanable, durable, and impervious to moisture. Floors, ceilings, and walls should be repaired because cracks allow bacteria and molds to accumulate. The doors of the establishment should be made of smooth and non-absorbent surfaces, and they shall be easy to clean and disinfectant. The floor shall have adequate and proper drainage with appropriate slope, and they should be easy to clean and disinfectant. The drainage shall flow in a direction opposite to the direction of food preparation area to avoid contamination. Floor should have properly covered drainage system. Windows should be easy to clean. They should be constructed to minimize the build-up of dirt, and where necessary it should be fitted with removable and cleanable insect-proof screens, and if necessary, windows should be fixed. The equipments and containers which come into direct contact with food should be designed and constructed in that way to make sure that they can be adequately cleaned, disinfected, and maintained to avoid the contamination of food. Equipments and containers should be made up of materials with no toxic effect to the intended use of food. The equipment should be durable and movable, of being disassembled to allow for maintenance, cleaning, disinfection, and monitoring. Bins for waste, byproducts, and inedible substances should be specifically identifiable, suitably constructed, and should be made up of impervious material. Water which comes in the direct contact of food should be potable water, and non-potable water should be used for fire control, steam production, refrigeration, and other similar purposes where it would not contaminate food. Proper facilities should be provided for cleaning food, utensils, and equipments. Such facilities should have an adequate supply of hot and cold potable water. Personal hygiene should be maintained appropriately to avoid contamination of food. FBOs should have adequate means of hygienically washing and drying hands, lavatories of appropriate hygienic design, and adequate changing facilities for the staff. As according to the processing requirements, FBOs should have proper temperature control for heating, cooling, cooking, refrigerating, and freezing of raw material as well as processed food. Adequate means of natural or mechanical ventilation should be there, particularly to minimize airborne contamination of food, to control ambient temperatures, to control odors which may affect the suitability of food, and to control humidity. Adequate means of natural or artificial lighting system should be provided. Necessary facilities should be provided to store the raw food, processed food, ingredients, and non-food chemicals like cleaning materials, lubricants, and fuels. FBOs should have necessary cleaning and disinfection methods and materials. Cleaning and disinfection programs should be continually and effectively monitored for their suitability and effectiveness. Pests create a major danger to the safety and suitability of food. Pest infestations can occur where there are breeding sites and a supply of food. Good hygiene practices should be applied to avoid creating an environment conducive to pests. FBOs should have adequate waste management systems. It is very much essential for the food handlers to maintain personal hygiene. They should wear suitable protective clothing, head coverings, and footwear. They should wash their hands at the start of food handling activities, immediately after using the toilet, and after handling raw food or any other contaminated material which can contaminate other food items. They should not eat in food handling areas. Spitting is prohibited in food handling areas. The personnel with cough and sneezes must not handle food. Alternatively, must wear a face mask. Food handlers should not smoke in food including areas. The food handlers should not wear jewelry, watches, pins, or other items which may create a hazard to the safety and suitability of food. Health checkup camp for the staff. All the good hygiene practices and good behavioral practices should be followed by the visitors also. Food may be contaminated during transportation, so effective measures should be followed to protect food from potential sources of contamination, to protect food from damage, and to provide an environment which effectively controls the growth of pathogenic or spoilage causing microorganisms and the production of toxins in the food. Time to time training should be given to food handlers about good hygiene practices and good behavioral practices. Thank you for watching this video. Next video will be posted soon.